Archangel Michael says, the sirens are not just outside, they re in the spirit. They've been circling, building a case of lies around your name, and they almost succeeded. But heaven stepped in, and what was meant to take you down is about to lift you higher. This was planned behind closed doors. Your name was whispered with malice, and your silence was mistaken for guilt. They fabricated evidence, twisted your words, and prepared paperwork to make you the face of a crime you never touched. You were being set up, neatly, precisely, professionally. It was meant to look flawless. And yet, someone unexpected saw it unraveling. Archangel Michael says, a person of power who doesn't even know you heard your name spoken in the wrong context and couldn't ignore the injustice. That person is walking into your life at this very hour. And what they carry will burn through every lie meant to break you. Type Amen to get blessing 333. You woke up feeling something off in the air. Your spirit has been uneasy for days, sensing a shift you couldn't name. You didn't know the legal trap was already in motion. Documents were signed. Authorities were called. But the truth had not been consulted. You're not guilty. You're not even close to the situation they're trying to link you to. But someone with envy in their heart chose your name because it shines. They thought by framing you, they'd silence you. But instead, your name is about to echo in places where justice breathes deeply. Heaven is not allowing this to happen. Type Amen to get blessing 414. The door knocks louder than usual. Heavy, almost like a warning. You open it to find not the police, but a stranger in an expensive suit, eyes burning with urgency. They introduce themselves as a defense lawyer with national reputation, known for rescuing the innocent and exposing buried truths. And they came, for you. You speechless, stunned. You don't remember calling anyone. But they say they were sent, by someone who overheard the setup and could not remain quiet. Archangel Michael says, this is divine intervention in human form. When man plots against the chosen, heaven dispatches rescue disguised as coincidence. And your rescue just arrived. Type Amen to get blessing 717. The lawyer shows you a thick folder filled with documents you've never seen. Forged emails, altered timestamps, text messages taken out of context. Someone went all in, trying to paint you guilty. But what they didn't know is that someone connected to this lawyer once benefited from your kindness years ago. A small moment, a generous act. And now that seed has returned as a full harvest of protection. You don't understand all the pieces, but one thing is clear, this person believes in your innocence. And they're moving fast to stop what was already in motion. They make phone calls. They schedule meetings. They tell you not to panic, but to prepare, because what's about to happen will reveal the real enemy. Type Amen to get blessing 808. You learn that someone who once smiled in your face is deeply involved. A former colleague. A fake friend. Possibly even family. They volunteered your name. They gave access to your schedule. They planted things hoping you'd never notice until it was too late. But now their fingerprints are on evidence they can't erase. Their voice is on calls they forgot were being monitored. And soon, what they meant for destruction will become their own undoing. Archangel Michael says, don't fear what they've planned. Fear what God has exposed. You're not the victim in this story, you're the revelation. Type Amen to get blessing 1919. The lawyer meets with authorities before you even get summoned. They drop the folder on the table like a spiritual sword. Inside is everything needed to destroy the case built against you. People start scrambling. Phone calls are made. The ones who thought they had time are suddenly running out of it. You sit in your home, heart pounding, but not from fear, from the realization that this moment was meant to test your faith. And you passed without even knowing you were being watched. The tables are turning. The script is flipping. And soon, your name will be cleared publicly. Type Amen to get blessing 525. The arrest warrant that was written gets revoked. Quietly. But not before a few officers find out and begin asking questions. Now people are talking in police stations, courtrooms, and offices. Why would someone do this? Why frame them? What are they afraid of? Your truth is louder than their lies now. Your name is being spoken with caution. And your innocence is no longer a secret, it's a spotlight. Archangel Michael says, justice is not coming, it has arrived. Your enemies had their moment. Now heaven is restoring yours. Type Amen to get blessing 6666. Meanwhile, the one who plotted. Everything begins to panic. They feel the collapse coming, but they try to control the fall. They delete messages, avoid calls, but it's too late. Evidence is already in motion. Their name is now being whispered the way yours once was. But the difference is, they are guilty. They underestimated your protection, thought your silence meant weakness. But you were never alone. Archangel Michael says, what they tried to use as your downfall is now becoming your defense. And what they planted for your destruction is now being harvested for their exposure. Type Amen to get blessing 9090. News spreads quickly in places you don't even visit. A whisper here. A file there. People who once doubted you now sit in shock, realizing they were almost part of condemning an innocent soul. The lawyer moves swiftly. One by one, they uncover phone logs, surveillance errors, and financial records showing payments to the person who lied. The case collapses faster than it was built. Your name rises like fire through smoke. The very people who once discussed you in private are now silent in guilt. They know, and they don't know how to face you anymore. Archangel Michael says, silence is no longer your enemy. It's your shield, because heaven has spoken louder than any courtroom ever could. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. You, recalled in, not for questioning, but for clearance. They apologize. They say it was all misunderstood. But the lawyer isn't done. Misunderstood isn't enough. The truth must be recorded, documented, and made undeniable. You sit across from officials who once had your name in red ink. Now, they read it with regret. You were never guilty, and now they know it. And in their eyes, you see something deeper than apology. You see fear. Because they almost arrested someone under divine protection. Type Amen to get blessing 888. They offer you compensation. They say, let's make this right. But the lawyer tells you, this is bigger than money. It's your name, your legacy, your divine purpose. And heaven is making sure your story will be known not as the one they tried to frame, but the one no one could take down. Some start avoiding your calls. Others try to reach out nervously, pretending they supported you all along. But you remember who disappeared, who doubted, who stayed silent when you needed defense. Archangel Michael says, vindication is not just restoration, it's revelation. And the ones who betrayed you are now exposed in the same light they tried to throw on you. Type Amen to get blessing 2626. You begin to receive messages, quiet ones, secret ones. I knew you were innocent. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. I didn't know what they were really doing. But it's too late for some. Forgiveness is granted, but access is denied. This new version of you doesn't move backwards. You don't carry anger, you carry clarity. And now, the world must meet you as the person heaven protected. The person who survived what was meant to end them. Your story spreads beyond borders. It inspires others to speak up, to push back, to walk boldly even when falsely accused. Type Amen to get blessing 1112. The person who tried to set you up is now facing legal consequences. Charges are being filed. Their name is now the headline, and you are no longer a suspect. You are a survivor. The lawyer holds a press conference. Your face is not hidden. Your voice is not trembling. You speak, but only to lift others who've been where you were. You don't drag their name through the mud, you rise above it. Because your victory isn't about revenge. It's about revelation. Archangel Michael says, this is your divine spotlight. Not for fame, for freedom. The truth has set you apart, and it will never leave your side again. Type Amen to get blessing 5550. Now you walk into rooms and people stand. Not out of fear, but out of reverence. They know what you went through. They know what you didn't say. Your silence held power. Your grace carried weight. And now your future opens like doors that once stayed locked. You re-invited to speak on stages, to sit at tables you were once denied. The story they tried to bury became your breakthrough. And the people who lied now sit in the back, watching you walk in light. Archangel Michael says, your victory will be public because your pain was almost permanent. But God interrupted the enemy's plan. Type Amen to get blessing 4441. In time, you begin to help others who are falsely accused. You connect them to resources. You become the voice you once wished someone had been for you. The lawyer, now your trusted ally, tells you something you'll never forget. I almost didn't take this case. But something in my spirit told me you were the one. Divine appointment. That's what this was. And now you know, nothing about this was random. It was spiritual war. And you won without lifting a single weapon. Archangel Michael says, because you trusted in silence, your reward will echo louder than accusation. What was built to ruin you became the staircase to your reign. Type Amen to get blessing 9999. You sleep peacefully now. No knocking shakes your spirit. No false papers threaten your name. The heavens are proud. Your ancestors are smiling. And the person who tried to bury your truth is now buried in their own lies. You never fought with hands. You fought with endurance. And now the crown that sits on your head was formed in the fire they meant to consume you with. Archangel Michael says, you are cleared. You are protected. You are chosen. Type Amen to get blessing 303. Days pass, but the echo of what happened still ripples. You walk through familiar places, but everything feels different. It's not just that you were proven innocent, it's that your name now carries weight. People lower their voices when they speak of you. They're not sure what to say. They don't know how to face someone who walked through fire and didn't burn. The same people who once looked down on you are now looking up. Their pride is quiet. Their opinions have shifted. Archangel Michael says, when heaven vindicates you, even those who disrespected you must now recognize the favor you carry. They didn't believe before, but now they're silenced by your rise. Type Amen to get blessing 4844. The lawyer who once came to you as a stranger is now family in spirit. They confide in you, telling you this wasn't just another case. It was personal, divinely led. They say your energy reminded them of something they once lost. That your fight reignited their belief in justice. That your silence reminded them that truth doesn't need to scream. This alliance between you was written before the case ever began. And now, they want to partner with you for something greater. Something that could change lives for people who are voiceless like you once were. Archangel Michael says, the same way you were rescued, you will now be a rescuer. The pain you walked through has licensed your purpose. Type Amen to get blessing 7070. You're invited to closed-door meetings. People want to know your insight. Government officials, judges, even media producers. But you only speak when your spirit says speak. You've learned that not every platform is pure. And not every spotlight is safe. You are selective with your time now. Not out of ego, but out of wisdom. Because you now know that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Archangel Michael says, your value has been upgraded. Not because of what you lost, but because of what you refuse to compromise. Type Amen to get blessing 6161. Meanwhile, the person who tried to frame you is facing consequences beyond courtrooms. Their name is no longer respected. Their contacts no longer return calls. They are haunted, not just by guilt, but by the fact that you rose. Their plan failed. Their pride crumbled. They once walked with power, but now walk in paranoia, looking over their shoulder, wondering who else knows. And what's worse, their circle is collapsing, people are distancing. Because no one wants to be tied to a person who tried to kill someone's purpose. Type Amen to get blessing 1711. You have choices now. Real ones. Not desperate opportunities, but divine invitations. You sit in front of a contract. It's worth more than anything you've ever touched. And it was handed to you by someone who said, I watched how you handled the trial. We want your voice. You don't tremble this time. You don't second guess. Because this is what happens when heaven clears the path. Archangel Michael says, your next chapter is being written with golden ink. The pain prepared you. The setup shaped you. Now comes the seat they said you'd never earn. Type Amen to get blessing 1414. People from your past who cut you off during the investigation now send you quiet messages. They want to reconnect. They pretend nothing happened. But you remember everything. Not to hold a grudge, but to protect your healed self. You no longer open doors just because someone knocks. You're polite, but you're not open. And your peace refuses to make room for past poison. Archangel Michael says, not everyone deserves to sit at your table now that you've built it from stone. Let them watch from afar. That's their consequence. Type Amen to get blessing 3032. In your private moments, you look at your reflection and see someone unbreakable. Not bitter, not bruised, but built. What tried to crush you ended up carving you. Your posture is taller now. Your heart beats with quiet confidence. You're not proud because you proved them wrong. You're proud because you proved yourself right. You were always innocent. You were always chosen. Archangel Michael says, this is your divine moment. And it's only the beginning. The crown they tried to steal has now been sealed to your spirit. Type Amen to get blessing 4440. One evening, while sitting in quiet reflection, your phone lights up with a number you don't recognize. You hesitate before answering, but something in your spirit says, pick up. On the other end is someone whose voice once filled rooms of power. They speak slowly, carefully. They mention your case, not with judgment, but with awe. They confess that they were once one of the voices in the background, doubtful, dismissive, almost complicit. But after seeing what unfolded, they couldn't stay silent anymore. They offer you something, an open door into a system they once guarded tightly. Not as a guest, but as a decision-maker. Archangel Michael says, those who once sat above you will now invite you beside them, not out of pity, but out of respect birthed through divine justice. Type Amen to get blessing 5051. This offer comes with full access, private meetings, exclusive resources, a platform to create change for those still trapped in what you escaped. You're no longer just a survivor, you're becoming a gatekeeper. The person says, we need your insight. You walked through what we ignored. You didn't break, and that makes you more qualified than most. Your eyes sting with quiet tears. You remember the days no one answered your calls. You remember the moments you questioned your own worth. And now, those memories are the foundation of your power. Type Amen to get blessing 1011. You accept, not for revenge, not for reputation, but for restoration. This is your assignment, a divine placement. Behind the scenes, others are watching you rise and wondering how. They know what you went through. And still, you shine. Your strength isn't loud, it's consistent. Your favor isn't forced, it's undeniable. And every step you take now leaves a trail for others to follow. Archangel Michael says, your victory is a map. Your survival is a testimony. And your position is a prophecy fulfilled. Type Amen to get blessing 9091. In the days that follow, you start meeting people who silently supported you from the shadows. They tell you, we prayed for you. We believed in you. We knew the truth would come out. These quiet warriors are placed around you by divine hands. You didn't even know their names, but heaven did. They kept your name lifted when you were too tired to fight. You realize your story wasn't just about proving innocence. It was about waking up a generation to spiritual warfare in plain sight. About showing what divine justice truly looks like. Archangel Michael says, the enemy wanted your voice silenced. But instead, your voice is now a sound of awakening. Type Amen to get blessing 8080. In a public gathering, you're asked to speak. The audience is filled with people of influence. Some who once doubted you now sit in the front row. You take the stage, not with anger, but with wisdom. Your story is not one of pity, but power. Every word you speak pierces the atmosphere with truth. People rise to their feet. Tears fall. Chains break off of people who didn't even know they were still bound. And in that moment, you realize, you were never the victim. You were the vessel. Type Amen to get blessing 6160. Back in your private space, you light a candle. Not for ritual, but for remembrance. To honor the version of you who walked through darkness so others could see the light. You whisper a prayer, not of asking, but of gratitude. You thank the heavens for the pain that taught you discernment, for the betrayal that introduced you to purpose. You no longer fear setups. You no longer fear systems. Because you now understand that when you re-chosen, even hell can't stop what heaven has cleared. Archangel Michael says, you didn't just survive, you've now been stationed. In power, in peace, in divine purpose. Type Amen to get blessing 1911. Soon after, the person who framed you falls into full exposure. Not by your hands, but by their own pride. A leaked recording. A bank transaction. A confession they didn't realize was being documented. The same media that once almost tarnished your name now publishes headlines of your innocence and their deception. And the world watches in disbelief. You don't celebrate their fall, but you do recognize the justice in it. Because this is not your revenge, it's divine order correcting imbalance. Archangel Michael says, what they thought they could bury has now bloomed. And what they tried to steal has returned to you multiplied. Type Amen to get blessing 2121. You are now surrounded by people who don't just see your light, they respect it. They don't want to drain it, they want to protect it. You no longer walk with a question mark above your head. You walk with clarity, with dignity, with spiritual armor. And when people ask how you did it, you smile and say, I was never alone. Because now, every step you take is guided. Every room you enter has been cleared. And every eye that once judged now bows to the truth you carry. Archangel Michael says, this is only the beginning. The crown on your life is permanent and now human can remove that heaven has sealed. Type Amen to get blessing 888.